Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
September 17, 2020, the Et2BP edition. First up, Republican lawmakers led by Marco Rubio blasted the TikTok Oracle deal and have said that they need additional restrictions to allow the deal to move forward. They're calling on the Trump administration to reject the deal if it leaves strong ties between the video sharing app's Chinese owner and the proposed partner Oracle. In a letter to President Trump, they have raised significant concerns about the transfer of U.S. operations of TikTok and the agreement's data protection for U.S. users. Let me just say, there is no protection for U.S. users, and that's the real problem with this deal. So we'll see if the Republican lawmakers have any sway. Over on the other side of the Congress, the House has condemned Boeing and FAA in the 737 MAX disasters. The House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee said that the 2 crashes that killed 346 people and led to the worldwide grounding of the plane were the horrific culmination of engineering flaws, mismanagement, and severe lack of federal oversight. The report, which condemns both the FAA and Boeing for safety failures, concludes an 18-month investigation based on interviews with dozens of Boeing employees, agency employees, and an estimated 600,000 pages of record. The report argues that Boeing emphasized profits over safety and that the agency granted the company too much sway over its own oversight. It's a tragedy these things should have happened. It could have been prevented, and we're going to take steps in legislation to see it never happens again, according to committee chair Peter DeFazio. Really no surprises come out of this. A pretty harsh look at the FAA. This is not the FAA under the Trump administration. This is the FAA under the Bush administration, the Obama administration, and the Trump administration, which had basically turned over oversight to the airline manufacturer itself. Never a good sign. Next up, in a really interesting article by Chris Tomlinson at the Houston Chronicle, he said, first asked the question, A2BP, but then said that BP buries a dagger into the heart of the oil industry and has joined a growing number of companies, that's energy companies, that recognize that the energy industry's best days are in the rearview mirror, anticipating that oil use will peak within 10 years. And the company asks not whether demand will drop, but how soon and how quickly. This comes on the heels of an incredible article from the Wall Street Journal about how Exxon basically has lost 2/3 of its value in less than 10 years. So big problems ahead for the energy industry. BP is sounding the clarion call. It's going to be interesting to see if any of these other companies listen. And finally, finance chiefs have finally woken up to the fact that the best and most important assets of their companies are their employees. So many companies are now trying to provide a wide range of perks to encourage them to stay with companies, despite the toll the coronavirus has taken on daily operations and everyday work life. You have to admit it's unusual when a CFO recognizes anything positive comes out of employees, as usually all they care to do is cut. But perhaps some enlightened management is taking hold. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.